Good evening, people. How do you do? Good morning if you're in a different time zone than me. In my city now, it's almost, I think, 11 p.m. and I'm recording this video. But nevertheless, I'm pretty enthusiastic about this topic. I wanted to do like a quick overview of an awesome thing I kind of learned down my creative journey. So it has to do like building a social media content machine. As you know, I'm a head of growth at Lemlist, and one of my main things I think in my job description is learning how to optimize time and battle my inefficiencies in a continuous way. So always look at how can I be more effective and how can I do multiple things in a small and lean crew, which is the Lemlist crew. So we are a team of I think 3 people in the growth marketing team. And yeah, you gotta stay sharp, you gotta stay focused, you gotta be efficient. And one of the things I've learned with social media is that if you're investing in content, and for Lemlist, content is a big deal, especially if we're talking about the blog and publishing content. So in this video, I'm just gonna walk you through how we take our long form uh, content on the blog and videos, keynotes that we do, podcasts, in the interviews when we join other people's podcasts. How do we take all that and organize it into many different social media micro content units and in multiple forms and formats? And I'm going to walk you like the whole thing. And just so you know, I'm no blog reader, so this kind of strategy helped us. It wasn't like the crucial pillar in getting these results, but it was an important segment of the strategy that kind of helped us drive these results. And one of the key things was to grow our community. The impact we had on private social media profiles like Guillaume LinkedIn. Guillaume's LinkedIn is a beast for us, and especially he invested a lot of time in making it an important distribution channel. Then again, like getting followers, which is not essentially the main thing, and definitely not like the priority, but still you want to have a lot of people following and sticking to your having like a lot of people glued to your profile and popping into their news feed. And finally, when it comes to conversions, so this is like overview I did for a keynote that I did, like social media in terms of conversions and branding. So if you analyze the time period between April and October for Lemlist, 6% of overall traffic is coming from social media, and 5% of that traffic we are able to convert into paid users. But two things I want to mention here. So first and foremost, the real numbers are like I would say hundreds of users, close to 1,000. This 5%. And the other thing is you are like Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager, and whatever you're using to measure these kind of things are not 100% accurate, because a lot of people can hear about your brand on social media, on like LinkedIn newsfeed, Facebook groups, YouTube videos, whatever. Like people can talk about you, and then they can go and type directly lamlist.com or go to Google, search for Lamlist, come through a branded query. So like my estimated that if we had the real data, these numbers would be even higher. But social media is definitely not there to sell, it's more to brand, but you can also sell if you play it smart. And we're going to talk about our experience there as well. So first and foremost, I call this like the pole position because I'm a Fernando Alonso fan. Figuring things out, like branding. A couple of questions you got to ask yourself, like what do you want to be on social media? What's the brand about? How do you like, what sort of traits you want to give to your brand, and how are you planning to connect on like based on those traits, how you're planning to connect with people? Are you going to be just another copy, because you can't beat what you copy? And what's going to be your differentiator in terms of your creative on social media? And figuring out these things is really important, because you need to be able to answer the question like, why should anyone care to follow you regularly? And throw a like, a comment, a share, stick with your content long term. And then you're able to talk about conversions. Like once you figure out the brand and what's the brand about, you can be like, cool, like, but how do we convert people from that without being too promotional? Like how do we produce value consistently while still being able to drive conversions from Facebook. I'm not talking about Facebook ads, rather than like content you share on social media, and what are some realistic expectations in terms of numbers that you want to achieve. But the thing here, and we'll talk about this later, is that brand comes first. Social media is there to help you like raise awareness, bring interest, like sort of like top of the funnel stuff. And conversions are more a second priority, at least if you ask me. And then it's also about agreement, because like I said, we're a small and a lean team. And for us to prioritize every single social media platform is kind of like a bit too much, especially in the early days. It was only Guillaume, then Guillaume and me, and now there's the three of us. So you gotta prioritize certain things and understand the resource constraints. So for example, you can do all social media accounts, but you would, based on your analysis, you can be like, okay, 80% of time and effort I'm going to devote to LinkedIn, and other 20% I'm going to devote to other social media platforms. So you really gotta understand like priorities and resources that you have at your disposal. And then finally, it's also the social media hotness. I don't know why I put this headline, but anyway, like communities, we all know how hot they are on social media, especially on Facebook. Me personally, I'm growing my group on LinkedIn just because I want to check it out and see how LinkedIn groups will develop in the future. I don't think they've invested a lot of time and effort in them, but communities and personal brands are much more important. I think, like for us, private LinkedIn profiles are generating a lot of the good stuff. Company profile is also doing that, but nothing beats talking to a CEO from a company, talking to the head of growth of the company, or just talking to people. People like people, and people buy from people they like. So personal brands and communities are really important, because every employee can be a brand ambassador. Like a designer can connect with other designers and be kind of like I don't know, John or Sophia, designer from Lemlist, and they can play a big role in helping you create a brand that people will love and can relate to it, but also have cool people around your brand. That's for me, that's really key. So breakdown wise, and this is probably the reason why you stick to this part of the video. Like the typical thing when you write a blog article, which is, and this is really a huge piece, like 5,000 words I've written around backlinks and the role of the cold emails in backlinks. So the typical thing that people do is they share it on social, and that's it. A bit more, enthusiastic social media managers, they repost it a week later or a month later. So they share it a couple of times. But honestly, like this approach is not really that cool, and you've seen like on one hand people not clicking on it if you like look at the industry standards and everything, and I've tested this as well as myself. Especially if you don't have a strong brand, people will not just go and read a blog if you like just share it and be like, go read our blog. On the other hand, like when you're taking people from Facebook to your website, from LinkedIn to your website, we've seen the organic kind of drop, which is another thing that happens. So when you think about it, like there's a lot of other things that just move my face out of the way. Boop. Okay, something's weird. Here we go. So yeah, you can break this into a couple of different posts and have different strategies. Like if you think about it, this kind of translates into different social media platforms, and you can use that for different platforms, right? And same logic is if you have a big YouTube video, if you've done a podcast, if you went and did a keynote or had a speech at a conference, you can use that long form content and break it into many different units, which you can then post on social, throw in a link to your blog or to your video or to the podcast, whatever, and keep publishing the same link. Just show people different pieces of content. Try to do it in a smart way and generate traction and awareness from that, which is what I've been doing, and I've seen real improvements in many metrics. If you think about it, as a result, you have one article that is transformed into many different smaller pieces of content for multiple platforms in different formats. It can be video, audio, written word, shorter posts, the funny stuff, and so forth and so on. And so this is the logic, like the articles. I write a lot. It's no secret. If you ever been to the Lambless blog, then you know the drill. But if you haven't, I encourage you to do so. I really invest a lot of time in trying to make and create epic content, and I'm really obsessed with this. So what you notice here is that a lot of these are longer articles, so 15-minute read. That's like 4,000 words probably, and you see that a lot of those are guides, strategies, cold email templates, something that sounds like actionable. And these are all things that I've been practicing myself. So I haven't go through a Google page and just, okay, people write about this, and create a copy of the article. I actually tested this on my business, and then shared things that worked, that didn't work, the things I've learned, and so forth and so on. So my focus and my kind of how I see the world of content is producing actionable stuff that you've played with on your own, and then you take this and you repost it on social media, but you do it in different ways. So if you think about it, like long educational posts. So you see my post on the left, it has to do with a follow-up email template to a potential client. And if you remember, that's the article on the right. So 8 follow-up email templates that will increase your reply rate. And so here I walk you through a specific template for a potential client, and I give you like how to do it in 5 steps. You see some links here, you see some like emojis, and this does more than a few things for Lambless. So it gives people something they can use. So I'm bringing value, which is the most important thing. Then for a SaaS business like ours, if a current user of Lambless sees a post like this, he can be cool. I need a template. I need a follow-up template for a cause like this. So this translates into the ongoing product usage, and they're using our product, and which is how we make money at the end. So the more you use a SaaS product, the more we're generating revenue, and so it's a win-win situation. As long as they're winning, we're winning. That's for a SaaS business, that's really important. And this is how this is the way I've distributed that article for this kind of purpose and for this kind of vibe. But then you can also use just branded logic that I mentioned. And so the icebreaker cold email tactic is something that we really love, and that has produced a lot of good results in our campaigns, and for our campaigns of our users, which is essentially the line you use. So the intro line is unique for every single prospect in your campaign, and we call this the icebreaker strategy. And the whole point is for people to be like, so my cold emails are not working, cold emails suck. And like, have you used icebreaker strategy? Oh, I didn't. What's the icebreaker strategy? You go to Lambless and check it out. And then those branded queries play their role, and it's like much less friction when you search. You go to Google, you type icebreaker strategy, boom, you see our article, you go to our article. You go to Facebook and you type it, you're also gonna find it real quick. And like if you put a catchy name and if you brand it right and manage to make it popular, I think it works wonderfully. I'm still cracking this, and I still haven't brought it to a level which I really want to, but I've seen some really cool things happening for this kind of social media strategy. Then you have the funny stuff. Like I said, we all like to laugh, no matter how serious a business is. Again, it will depend on the type of the client. You can't always be as funny as you would like, especially for some businesses. In the past, I worked for a business like this, but everyone likes to laugh. There's a more than one way to do it. Like, check this out. So this is a video of AD and LeBron throwing a special handshake, and people, tagged their buddies from marketing. Again, 7 comments. It's nothing spectacular, but 3 people based on this post, 3 new people heard about Lambless, and Maybe they'll use a product, maybe they'll check it out, maybe they'll become a satisfied client, maybe they'll become a big client, maybe they'll recommend someone. But the whole point is, with this kind of content on social media, you can use it from an article you wrote about sales and marketing strategies, the cold email outreach funnels and so forth and so on, and share it like this, which essentially, like, social media is an entertainment business as well. And the mix of storytelling and funny stories, like, this is one of my, like, favorite things to do, like, create sort of like a small comic, like a meme conversation. And so you see, like, I'm talking about something that is called liquid syntax, which is a feature of our tool, which kind of gives you some cool advanced personalization tricks for your cold email outreach. And you see like a link to the tactic, and because it's funny, the engagement is higher. People check it out, people read it, people laugh, people comment on, like, hey, I love your GIFs, they're really cool. They tag their friends, like I said. But we're also telling an authentic lesson, and we're transferring people to the relevant blog article and to the relevant feature. And let me show you another example. This is really fresh one, like Braveheart. I used the meme, and as you can see, like, I've talked about personalization, like how does what has cold email personalization done for us, which was kind of like the vibe here. And I had like 4 images, which was like not a slideshow, but upload just 4 images to LinkedIn and Facebook, and they were labeled like 1, 2, 3, 4, and people go through it. They kind of laugh a little bit, and I also have a link here. And what I really want to show you is check the engagement. Like, the engagement is huge. Like, look how many people clicked, mostly on images, but also on the link as well. And this is not typical. You won't get this kind of engagement for a normal, educational post. So there's a way to hack the funny stuff. So you can write something that puts a smile on people's face, but this also delivers value and helps you do some cool things for your business, which I think is pretty cool, right? Then moving on, like I said, you can convert this into Loom videos. Nothing like this video here. It's super simple thing to do. You don't need anything besides maybe a microphone. And so social media post is kind of like the hook, but link is the price. So in every post you can include a link. You shouldn't have links in every single social media post. That doesn't make any sense. But you see what I'm saying? Like, with the cool social media post, not just a share of your article, but more of like a cool content that you've created, and you put the link, you can get more people to click and go and drive that social media traffic and branding and conversions and so forth and so on. And remember, so one big long form type of content is just one piece, right? You have like 10 articles, so that's like 100 pieces of content that you can create. And but on top of that, you don't want to just, that's only part of the social media story. Then you have the other stuff that's not tied to a long form blog, video, podcast, keynote content. You also have some different things that you're doing on your social media, like sharing the photos, documenting your journey. For us, it's like connected topics. Like, SaaS is one of our verticals that's in our target audience. So we kind of like use these quotes from different SaaS leaders, which also generates, again, like shares, likes, new followers. Something that's not really promotional, that's not about Lemlist, but it's more about SaaS and businesses, startups, right? So besides that, you also have the throw events, webinars. You also have the opportunity to play with data and use your campaigns and do some kind of research and present data in a fun and actionable way. So people will be like, cool, I kind of want this kind of results. I want these click rates in my cold emails. I'm going to check it out. And the final piece of the story, like I said, is how do we measure? So how do you measure social media success? How do you, convince your boss that it's not about conversions and that you will not sell like insane number, drive insane number of conversions or drive insane revenue after 2 months on Facebook, especially if you're just starting out and you're kind of building a social media profile from scratch. So how do you measure? For me, First, it comes engagement is sort of just move my head. I think it will bother you least here. So the first thing you measure is engagement. Engagement is kind of like the proof that people are enjoying your content because they took time out of their lives to leave a comment, to like or share something. And I think like that's the proof that your content is good. And so what I'm measuring here are the comments, the likes and everything. And there's also kind of things like Lampod that help you get some original kick. If you don't know anything about Lampod, go to lampod.com and you will not regret it. Then you also have on YouTube, for example, consumption. We've faced the issue where we saw a big drop somewhere around here that like only 10 to 15% were checking our videos towards the end. So we've invested in the second phase. We kind of did some long form videos that were pretty engaging, interacting, changing frames, improve the quality of the content and everything. And so we were able to, you know, uh, have at least 40 people, 40% in this case, I think like somewhere below 30, watch the video until the very end. But because here in the middle is the key like piece that you want to give to people, we have like 40% of people watching this actually. So, which is good. And this is the way I also track, especially like with videos on YouTube. I like to see how many people actually watch until the end of the video. You can track things like how many people scroll from the beginning to the end of your article on blog, and you can do that through Google Tag Manager. And then you can be like, if they scroll towards the end, it means that they read the article or that they skimmed through different paragraphs and sections, but they went through the entire article. So those are the things I also like to check. The consumption, like, are people really you know um, sticking with the content until the end? Google Analytics, you also want to see like, okay, from Facebook, like what's the average session duration? How many pages per session are people visiting? So if people from Facebook that like come and visit between 7 and 8 pages per session, I think it's good. I also want to check the bounce rate, a couple of things like how many people are converting. And this is an easy report you can get from actually if you go to Analytics, Acquisition, Social, and to Network Referrals, and you can check it out. Then you also have conversions, which is sort of like the same acquisition tab, but you go to campaigns and you have this campaign URL builder, and you can just write like, okay, I wanna post, like you see YouTube description is a specific tag that we've created, and so I know this comes from YouTube and YouTube description. I can be like, cool, so 6 people like converted based on our YouTube description that I was testing here. This campaign was a specific referral that we tested, and we can see that we generated a lot of business from here. So different things you can do to measure specific types of links thanks to Google Analytics. And that's the conversion part. How do you what you can do to track conversions? You also have things like Bitly and so forth and so on. And then finally, I think this is also a super important thing, and it's called love. Love kind of, in my mind, translates in love for the brand awareness. How people, what's the word on the street about your brand, and are people relating and loving the brand? Because there's a reason why people wait 2 hours or even a day to grab a new iPhone. There's a reason why people take a Starbucks cup and take a photo. Like, building a brand is a one heck of a challenge, one that I'm extremely passionate about, and so I like to measure this as well. And the way I measure it is when people share an article, and if they tag me, I really enjoy when people write things like this. I really enjoy when people leave comments, even if they are critical. I don't enjoy them. They don't put like a smile on my face as with like a compliment, but constructive feedback and any kind of feedback really, if you put your ego aside, it's super valuable. Like it can make you a better content creator. It can take your content quality to another level. So through comments, it's not really a scalable way to measure it. But you have things like Google Alerts when people mention your brand. You can check it out. You have tools like Mention, which you can also use, but you also have like comments in social media. And so these kind of things I'm paying really close attention to. You also have like the word of mouth. Like in Facebook groups, when somebody asks like, what cold email tools that you use, I always go through what people are recommending. And when you see like the name Lemlist, the like number of times that it's mentioned is increasing over time. That's an awesome place to be. And we achieved this. This approach was really an important piece of the puzzle in achieving this positive brand trend, in people recommending us to their colleagues, writing about us, talking about us in a super positive way. And again, like this also translates into more followers, and it also translates into things like this. Like we organized a webinar in December, close to the Christmas, and you see how many people registered, and I think like somewhere between a third and a half of people showed up for the webinar. It was close to, it was like 630 something people who registered, even though it was December, even though people go on holidays, without any serious promotion other than newsletters and community. Um, that's the thing that brand does for you. And for me, just to wrap it up, I've shared like the way to have enough inspiration to create a lot of quality, like fire pieces of content that you can connect, like your blog, your videos, your keynotes, your audio content in terms of joining other people podcasts or running your own podcast. You can take all of that and create a lot of content, useful, entertaining, authentic content for your social media, which can translate into branding power and which can also bring new business and more revenue to your business. The whole point with this is just to be patient, do the right thing, start moving in the right direction. And if you manage to do that, you will not only achieve like good KPIs and do some good work and produce quality content instead of just being a blog reader, posting on LinkedIn that you're an expert in a field when you're not. Like you will do some serious and authentic work on one hand, and also on the other, you will optimize and be able to do a lot of things. Like there were a couple of people that came to me like, how do you, Guillaume, and you manage to do these kind of things? So many things in when you're just the two of us. And the main answer is like, listen, like yesterday we were inefficient, but we were not, ashamed that we were inefficient. Like let's talk about it, how we can be more efficient. And by doing the work, you learn, you iterate, and you make things better tomorrow. If they're not perfect tomorrow, they're there the day afterward, but you can try again, Rocky Balboa style. And yeah, I hope this was a useful. Sorry for maybe taking it too long. I kind of feel it's around 30, 40 minutes, and I think it's almost midnight. So I'm just gonna tune out and wish you happy 2020. A lot of fun. Enjoy the ride. A lot of success, and we'll see each other down the road. Thanks, and let me know if this piece of content was valuable to you. Check you later.